From a luxury vacation to a well-tailored shirt, today is all about getting the best from what your money can buy. Welcome to Off Duty. I'm Wendy Bounds. Now, a well-tailored dress shirt like that my producer Harlan Reinhardt here is wearing, he's very busy, is a must for work or for play. But how do you make sure you get the right fit? Our own Stacy Dilo, she has some tips for that.
Take camera 3.
The button-down dress shirt. Whether casual or formal, they're a staple of men's fashion. But how many men actually wear them well?
We can take a little bit out of the waist to give you that cleaner look that you like. The sleeve and the armhole is one area where guys usually end up with too much shirt fabric. And what happens if you're wearing a suit or a sport coat, you take it off and all this fabric is wrinkled.
To get a perfect fit, there's nothing like a custom fit.
Fit is king right now, and getting a great fit rather than just a big comfy shirt is really the way to go.
We asked Jay Hilburn, a startup that sends a stylist to your home or office to take custom measurements, to help Wall Street Journal reporter Stu Wu get the perfect fit.
Nice to meet you. All right, so you're going to be the guy in charge of making me look good.
That's right.
All right, I'm excited to do this.
Excellent. Well, we start by taking 10 measurements to really kind of capture the contour and fit of your body. So we'll do the neck, we'll do the overarm, chest, waist, hips, shirt length, and then we'll measure each sleeve, your left and your right, and then each wrist, your left and your right. And the reason we do that is because not every guy's body is symmetrical. You'll have a guy whose right arm is a little bit longer than his left arm, maybe he plays squash and his right wrist is bigger than his left wrist.
But am I symmetrical?
You're pretty symmetrical.
Okay, all right.
You're the freak of nature who's actually symmetrical. And then we'll measure your shirt length. So do you wear your shirts tucked or untucked mostly?
Mostly tucked, yeah.
Mostly tucked, okay.
Is it cool to wear them untucked now? Though? Because if it is, then I can wear them
well,
untucked.
A lot of guys do, and when they do, we usually take them a little bit shorter.
Okay.
And while all this may sound expensive, companies like Nordstrom's and Jay Hilburn are finding ways to keep the costs lower by sourcing directly from high-end Italian fabric mills and custom tailors in China. Jay Hilburn is cutting the middleman and bringing custom-fit shirts to the market starting at $89. Nordstrom offers a similar service starting at $99, but you have to go to them. Jay Hilburn comes to you.
You look slimmer, you look better, your clothes fit better, you stand a little taller, you feel a little prouder.
And come to think of it, maybe you wouldn't care what your shirt looked like if you lived in one of these houses. Today we are traveling to a Gothic mansion in the UK as well as a sleek apartment in Shanghai. Let's head over there right now. High-end homes, custom clothing, it all takes a lot of you-know-what, and I don't think I have nearly enough here, which is why I need Robert Frank, and he is just back from covering the world's wealthy. He's got a few investment tips from the rich.
When it comes to investing their money, the wealthy have gone through a huge change really in the last 5 years. Before the recession, the wealthy were all about US stocks, and they were about illiquid investments like private equity and hedge funds. After the recession, US stocks didn't do that well. Private equity and hedge funds, not only did they fall in value, but people couldn't get their money out when they really needed cash in 2009, 2010. So what's happened is this total rotation for the wealthy away from these illiquid alternative investments towards some very basic things that they can understand and that are liquid. Huge piles of cash. I mean, the wealthy have record amounts of cash. And all that cash, by the way, is not helping our recovery because it's just sitting in a bank account somewhere. They also like gold. Right now, millionaires and billionaires in America are still very pessimistic about our financial system and our currency. So what is a long-term store of value that 10 years from now, if everything falls apart, will still be valuable? So they like cash and they like gold. And when I say gold, they're actually buying physical bars of gold, putting it in a safe, and burying it in their basements. Large, large quantities of gold. The other things that the wealthy are investing in are overseas stocks. The wealthy are the most global segment of our population. They see the great opportunities in India, China, Russia, Brazil, all these fast-growing emerging markets. And they're putting a lot of their money in these markets, primarily in stocks, but also in direct investments, like they might buy an office tower in Mumbai or a chain of restaurants in Beijing. You and I can't do that, but I think we can follow them in the sense that they're buying things in these emerging markets where there's going to be more rapid economic growth in the future.
And now that you've made your money, it is time to take a vacation. We all dream of that super luxury getaway, but it shouldn't have to break the bank. Here are a few tips on how to get your dream trip for less.
In need of a vacation? You're not alone. Experts say there's a pent-up demand from people who couldn't afford to vacation and now want to treat themselves to a 5-star room or a first-class airline ticket. But splurging on a luxury vacation is fast requiring a bigger budget and more digging to find deals. Travelers can save big if they make these right moves. 1. Consider a cruise. Prices for luxury cruises have dropped as more lines branch out to Asia and South America. Some of the first discounts even showed up on Antarctic cruises like on the Compagnie de Ponant last year. The catch? Some of the better prices require booking at least a year ahead. 2. Shop flash sales. Some of the best savings are available from websites like JetSetter, Sneakaway, Groupon, and Vacationist, which offer fast-ending sales of up to half off at high-end resorts. A night at St. James Paris sold for $438 on JetSetter, a discount of 30%. But beware, hotels often black out peak travel dates, leaving you to travel to Arizona during the sweltering summer. 3. Upgrade with miles. Redeeming miles is still the best way to book a first-class seat on the cheap. It's tough to grab an entirely free seat these days. They fill up fast, forcing travelers to fork over twice as many miles, 50,000, for an unrestricted award seat. Experts say it's better to buy a cheap economy ticket and use miles to upgrade. That can cost as little as 10,000 miles. Of course, your dollar will buy a more luxurious experience in some locations than others. Consider places where the economy is still rough. Some of the cheapest 5-star hotels can be found in Ireland, Portugal, Greece, and stateside in Las Vegas. I'm Kelly Grant for Smart Money.
As for me, I am still saving up for that next vacation. And you know how it is when you come home and you just want to bring a little bit of that trip with you? Well, how about an exotic spice pantry with flavors from around the world? Kelsey Hubbard, she's got a few tips right now on how we can get started.
Spices add flavor and pizzazz to any dish, but you need to know how to prepare and store them. I'm Kelsey Hubbard, and I'm here with Aaliyah Lecong, the Culinary Creative Director of Janoon, and she's going to teach us how to do it. You know, this is very important because you want to start off with the right spices, preparing them, and actually keeping them so they don't go bad.
Yes, absolutely. I think that starts with the buying. I mean, the first thing that you want to do is, if you are in a market or somewhere where they're selling it in cellophane, you have to know that the spices are already degrading. You really want to buy things that are in airtight containers.
So keeping them airtight as long as possible until you use them is really the freshest way to keep them, right?
Yes, so keeping them in airtight containers and keeping them away from light, heat, and humidity. The less oxygen that comes in contact with the spice, the better.
And I noticed you brought some here that you use from at home.
Yes.
And these are different from what you have here in the restaurant, but you're using these much more frequently here.
Yes, so in the restaurant we go through tons and tons of spices. We're downstairs, there's not a ton of light. In my house, I keep these on display, all very labeled. Yeah. And what I like is that they're metal containers, so the light really doesn't get into them. You just want to buy a little bit at a time so that you can go through it and buy new, fresher spices again. But what I like to do is just buy in bulk and then split them amongst my friends.
You all can share in the spices.
Exactly.
And what about refrigeration? Do any of these need to be refrigerated?
If you see the spices oily, I would stick it in the freezer. So there's certain chilies like the Aleppo chili, there's a Turkish chili called an Urfa biber. These are all sort of really specialty products, but those I keep in the freezer because they keep for a really long time that way.
If you are keeping them airtight, about how long can you keep a certain spice? And when do you know if it's gone bad?
Well, a lot of, if you buy them in store, a lot of the packaging has use-by dates. Okay. But if not, I think about a year is the max that you want to keep the spice. And you can tell, I mean, if you smell it and you're not hit with the smell, I would say toss it and get some more.
Do you use something like this, which looks very interesting, or something a little bit more modern?
It depends on the, well, it depends on the texture that you want. Sometimes this is a great, mortar and pestle is, you know, in my kitchen 24/7, but I also like to use just a basic coffee grinder. You know, you toast up the seeds, you throw them in here and you blend them. And you can do different spices to different varying levels of texture as well in here. One way actually to clean this is that if you have too much of a smell in there and you've been grinding a bunch of spices, you can throw some rice in there or some salt. And what that'll do is just get rid of the smell. It'll pick up all the particles in there and you can just toss that out.
And that's it for today's WSJ Off Duty. I hope you'll click above to subscribe. Please join me on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Wendy Bounds and I'll see you back here tomorrow.